Hello everyone, this is Fighters Unleashed, another 2.5D beat 'em up inspired by old 2.5D beat 'em ups like Streets of Rage and Final Fight and so on. I know this because not only is it obvious, but the developers said so themselves. Now the reason I own this game is because quite a while ago, there was a Kickstarter campaign for this game, and it was a very well-made, promising-looking Kickstarter with great presentation. I'll put the link to that in the description, but the Kickstarter massively underperformed. So in spite of them having a solid idea and a well-produced Kickstarter, they just didn't get enough attention, and it's understandable why. There were other beat-em-up revivals that were gaining more traction at the time, and it felt weird to put so much faith and money into a developer who had previously only done some iPhone games. But Fighters Unleashed was supposed to be their big project, made purely out of love for the beat-em-up genre. It was meant to be a big deal. It was even going to come out on the Vita and the PS4. But it didn't make the money. And it became obvious when it didn't make the money how much they needed that money. Because if you look at the screenshots and footage of the beta version, or rather the alpha version, compared to what you're seeing on screen right now, which is the finished product, they could have used that money. And I don't know if it's even fair to call this the finished product, because this is not their dream. This is not their goal. This is not what they had in mind. This is not the game they designed. This is what they could make after they failed. Fighters Unleashed was meant to be a lot more than this. There were meant to be combo attacks. There were meant to be specials you could perform. There was supposed to be two-player co-op. There were supposed to be so many things that never made it. And I do fully believe that if they actually got the money, they could have successfully turned it into something like The Takeover. I don't know if anyone knows what The Takeover is, but, you know, Googling it should help you out. The first line of their failed Kickstarter is a little depressing. They say, "Unfortunately, it went wrong." I mean, what more do you need to say than that? They were trying to get 10K, they got $93 total. Unfortunately, it went wrong. So there are no weapons you can pick up, items you can throw, specials you can perform, or interesting, intricate, elegant combos. There's not even the ability to dodge or block. And not even stage hazards like they planned. And this probably could have gone better if they ended up making it in a different engine. But they developed a new engine entirely for this game, which is bold and also perhaps a bit foolish. So it just sort of fell apart. Just completely, utterly fell apart. And now that it won't get funded, nobody will ever have their Fighters Unleashed t-shirts. And I would love to have a Fighters Unleashed t-shirt. Like, unironically. I would also have liked to have a physical copy, though having a physical copy of this game probably would just be for hipster purposes. I don't think I'd ever actually put it in my computer. Anyway, what you're seeing right now is what's left of their broken dreams. And what's left of their broken dreams is as broken as their dreams. This game has some problems. So, the basic combat system is punches and kicks. Kicks do seem to deal more damage, but the core idea is that you'll knock enemies into the air with your punches, and then kick them while they're in the air. As far as I can tell, this is the only way to go. You don't take damage while you're in the air, you take too much damage while you're on the ground, and this is the quickest, most efficient way to kill guys. Now, aside from the game obviously lacking some graphical polish, you can't say it looks too much worse than, say, the Ass Kickers, but one of the biggest problems with this game, in fact, perhaps the biggest problem that's ever occurred in any beat-em-up, is the way the hit detection works. Now, it's very hard to back up claims of bad hit detection, but you know me. You know I don't talk shit about a game unless I have no choice, so when I say these things, I want you to understand I'm not exaggerating. There are times in this game where enemies will hit you after they've already fallen over, They will hit you even though they're on a different plane than you. They will hit you before they've even swung their fist, and they will hit you when there are no enemies even visible on the screen. This is a little more than questionable hit detection. This is just about as bad as hit detection can actually get without making a game completely unplayable. Now, without these hit detection issues, the game would be functional. It wouldn't be particularly interesting or unique, but it would be functional, and I would probably do a complete run of it. But as it stands, it doesn't matter how good you actually are at the game, or its combat, or understanding its enemy types and bosses. What matters is that you get lucky enough not to be psychically punched from across the screen. And I can't really hazard a guess as to why the hit detection got so bad. Is it only this bad in the PC version? I'll never know because I only own the PC version. But this is the worst hit detection I've seen in any commercially released beat-em-up. Any of them. And it may currently be the worst currently may be the worst commercially released beat-em-up available. Like, I'm not sure there is a worse beat-em-up that you can buy. I'd argue Afro Samurai 2 is a much better game than this. I'd argue Ride to Hell is leagues better than this. And that's because those games, for the most part, function. There's a lot wrong with them, and they're broken in different ways, but when you hit something, you hit something. And I don't know, maybe other people would have a better time ripping this game apart than I am, because there's a lot wrong with this game. The graphics aren't so hot, the hit detection is objectively non-functional. There's a lot of typos. The story is, let's say, substandard. The upgrades don't noticeably do anything to help your character out. And it really sucks, because in spite of all that, if the hits were actually avoidable, like if it were possible to actually avoid taking damage in this video game, then the game would still function enough for me to want to play it. For me to actually enjoy playing it. And the only reason I'm giving this game so much attention right now is because of its history. Because it probably would have been an actually good game. They probably could have made it into something actually worthwhile. They went and got it an ESRB rating. Alright, what you're looking on screen right now, what you're seeing, they went and got this an ESRB rating. Yes, that's definitely counting your chicks before they hatch, but still, they had a lot of faith in this project, and this is definitely not what they wanted to make. What you're witnessing right now is the violated corpse of a great idea for a video game that was drowned out by a lot of other great ideas that happen to be extremely similar to this one. And I think the average person would probably look at this game, look at its gameplay, or look at it on the Steam store and go, "God damn, what a bunch of shovelware these people shoved out to scam others." And that's just not how it went down. Sometimes dreams die. And this is a dead dream you're watching in action.